like a lion was chasing his ass, right? You know what I'm saying? Like chasing a gazelle. I thought I was watching National Geographic. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, damn, this is just crazy. From that aspect, that was the only thing I was in there. I was just like, damn. You know, if he lands one of them right hands, he might kill him. And when he landed that right hand, man, that broke that damn jaw, man. Wow.
You were supposed to stop punching me when I hugged your leg, remember? I was gonna Venmo you. You were supposed to stop. I can't.
Ow, son!
Imagine earning $94 million in one night, yet being unable to smile, speak, or even open your mouth because your jaw is wired shut. That is the brutal reality Jake Paul is living right now. While fans argue over whether this fight was a circus or a legitimate contest, former world champion Tim Bradley delivered a chilling breakdown that makes the entire event feel far darker. Bradley didn't frame it as a boxing match. He framed it as a hunt, a National Geographic scene, a lion stalking a helpless gazelle. Behind the Netflix lights, the viral numbers, and the hype machine, Bradley says the truth of what happened.
Impressed with Jake Paul. I thought that, following on from what we're saying, right? A few years ago, he was on Disney as a kid, acting up, and has decided to become a professional fighter. That takes balls, but he's obviously striving to be as good as he can be. You can see that in the way that he moves, the way that he is developed in how he's punching and performing. But to make a two-time world heavyweight champion that's still live, AJ's still got something about him, to make him miss in such an accomplished manner. All right, so at times he was jumping out and running around, but there were times when he was well in range and still making AJ unable to land a clean, solid shot. He deserves a lot of respect for that. And then the shot that actually finished the fight, that broke his jaw quite badly, didn't put him out. That shot he threw with serious intention has put a lot of professional heavyweights to sleep. He didn't go to sleep. He actually finished on his knees, didn't he? Laughing and spitting blood out of his mouth. So, like they say, it's a special type of crazy and a special type of brave to do it. But I actually, hats off to him, because he showed that he's developing some accomplished little skills in there to look after himself. The size difference is always going to...
For years, whispers have followed influencer boxing. Rumors of friendly contracts, no knockout clauses, and carefully scripted endings in fights against aging legends like Mike Tyson or Chavez Jr. But Bradley made one thing very clear: this time, there was no protection. He said this fight had no safety net. In boxing terms, that means no hidden rules, no quiet agreements, no mercy. Anthony Joshua was free to be a real heavyweight. And the moment that happened, the skill gap didn't just reveal itself, it screamed. This wasn't about who was better anymore. It was about the terrifying realization that for the first time in his boxing career, Jake Paul was completely alone in the ring.
Know if this fight was going to be a real fight or not, it's really important for you to really pay attention to what a lot of these guys are saying. So, I saw in the comment section one guy was saying, hey, Tim, they said that this is no rules. So, what you mean this is no rules? You know what I mean? So, now the truth is coming out. So, there was probably stipulations in the other fights that he had, in the contract, because they're saying, oh, no rules. Meaning, oh, it's all fair game. Hey, Joshua, you can do whatever you want. This is a real fight. So, the previous fights, this just lets me know that it was set up. A lot of this shit was set up. The Mike Tyson fight, the Chavez Jr. fight, a lot of the fights that he had after he lost to Tommy Fury. But yeah, this is a real fight. This was it wasn't really a fight, to be honest with you. It was not a fight, because
Bradley's most viral reaction compared the fight to a nature documentary, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. He described Anthony Joshua as the apex predator who finally realized his prey was frozen by fear. Joshua, Bradley explained, becomes a different human being when he knows he's the hammer and the other man is the nail. Against elite heavyweights like Usyk or Fury, AJ can hesitate. But against Jake Paul, he fought like a true big man again. He stalked him, pressured him, walked him down as if he barely existed. Bradley said Joshua smelled fear, sensed weakness, and turned the ring into a hunting ground where escape...
Boy looked like a runaway slave, didn't he? That boy looked like a fish out of water. That boy looked like a lion was chasing his ass, right? You know what I'm saying? Like chasing the gazelle, I thought I was watching National Geographic. I'm not gonna lie, I was like, damn, this is just crazy. You know, from that aspect, that was the only thing I was in. I was just like, damn. You know, if he lands one of them right hands, he might kill him. He might kill him. You know, and when he landed that right hand, man, that broke that damn jaw, man. Wow. You know, and Jake Paul didn't go to sleep. That's one tough white boy, man. I'm not gonna lie. That's one tough white boy right there, for real. But anyways, man, that's my thoughts, man. You know, this is what boxing has become. You know, this is what people want to see, I guess.
Many fans watching at home thought Jake looked exhausted early and assumed he was out of shape or didn't take camp seriously. Bradley shut that idea down instantly. He said Jake was physically prepared, but mentally broken. According to Bradley, what drained Jake wasn't cardio, it was terror. When you're in the ring with a killer like Joshua and you're constantly flinching, waiting for a life-altering punch, your nervous system collapses. Bradley compared it to his own wars with Manny Pacquiao. The anticipation of pain drains you faster than any workout ever could. Jake didn't run out of breath. He ran out of nerve.
You know, one thing that I would say, or at least add to the commentary was, you know, Jake Paul was in shape. He was in tremendous shape. You know, a lot of people looking and saying that because he ran out of gas or whatnot. That wasn't because he was getting hit with big shots. Nah, that was nerves. That was all nerves. It's like when I fought against Manny Pacquiao, you know, you got to try to avoid that big shot. You know, I didn't move around a whole hell of a lot, but the fact of me trying to anticipate when that big shot is coming or trying to avoid it, man, that's what made him tired. You know, that's what made it was more mental than it was physical, because physically he was ready. You know, you got to understand, he had 2 training camps for this. He probably trained 4 months for, you know, not this particular fight, but, you know, he was getting ready to fight against Tank Davis. And, you know, then he stepped in, and, you know, AJ stepped in or whatever. But yeah, he's prepared. I mean, super prepared. He is one of the best strength and conditioning trainers in the world too. So no, it was more so nerves. That's what it was. Think of it as like you know, and then, you know, you put the movement on top of that. You know, you hear us say, a lot of the commentators say that, like, it's really harder to box and move than it is just...
The moment Jake's jaw snapped looked like something out of a horror film. In the 6th round, Joshua finally cornered his prey. Bradley said he was yelling at the screen, begging Jake to fight back, to do anything. But Jake was in pure survival mode. Then the shot landed, a violent right hand with sledgehammer force. You could see the shock in Jake's eyes as his brain tried to process what just happened. His jaw didn't crack, it fractured in 2 places, knocking his teeth out of alignment and leaving his face mangled. Bradley gave him credit for staying upright, calling him tough, but he was ruthless with the truth. Jake ran for most of the fight, brave enough to take punishment, but too scared to truly engage.
Being a part of the MVP Netflix era, they're getting big paydays in their 50s and 40s. Anderson all of a sudden is having this like revival. He comes across looking great. The knockout was great. The rest of the card, you know, multiple title fights, 5 title fights total, 1 undisputed on the prelims, Baumgartner in the co-main. You got up-and-comers. Like, all this is good for boxing. And so you'll have people on this Monday say this was a sham, this was, you know, this was a black, you know, all the usual stuff that we predicted they were going to say afterwards, ignoring the fact that boxing is on the biggest platform in the world, Netflix, ignoring the fact that Jake took on the biggest challenge he could possibly take on short notice. After Tank falls through, he goes and he's like, where's Francis? Okay, I'll go for the guy who beat Francis. I'll go for AJ. Ignoring the fact that, you know, I think some people's stock were elevated on the undercard. Some of the fights on the undercard were really, really great. And ultimately, like, there isn't that much to be upset about. There isn't that much to be mad about. Netflix being involved in boxing is great. Jake stepping up and taking Anthony's best shots were great. I don't think Anthony looked bad at all. There were times where I felt like he was headhunting. There were times where I felt like he was like trying to knock him out because I think he wanted to get rid of him. But you have to understand, when you have a guy who's running as much as he did and take shots at him or not for the game plan, that was his best way of surviving. It's like trying to chase a wet duck. You have to get him. And I think Anthony did actually a good job of pinning him into the corner sometimes, cutting off the ring, but it's hard to get a guy who's moving so much, who's clinching you, who's trying to do the antics that he was doing. That was the best chance for Jake.
And here's where Bradley says the story turns ugly. While Jake Paul lies in a hospital bed with titanium plates drilled into his face, his bank account has grown by $94 million. Bradley called that disgusting. He pointed out that Jake made more money in one night than pound-for-pound greats like Terrence Crawford have earned across multiple championship runs. This, Bradley argues, is no longer sport. It's a popularity contest where boxing's gatekeepers have failed completely. Influencers are rewarded with astronomical paydays while real fighters bleed for scraps. Bradley's frustration cuts deep, and it forces a hard